And there's a guy that just had to draw his last fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, what are we talking about? It ain't really nothing to even talk about. It is what it is. I ain't tripping. You know, it's funny to me. It's all jokes.
A lot of people go in there and they're very obedient to Tank's power, and Lamont wasn't that that night. Lamont wasn't having it, and he said he wasn't having it. He said it before. Y'all tripping. Y'all must be really like tripping. So
make it rough for anybody, but you know, Tank is a different animal too. So it's a great fight. That's why everybody want to see it. We can't just look at it and say, "Oh, he gonna win," "Oh, he gonna win." No.
Shakur Stevenson believes Gervonta Davis could face serious trouble in his rematch against Lamont Roach. He recalls how Roach already gave Tank a tough challenge in their first bout. Stevenson warns that if Davis isn't fully prepared and at his best, the fight could turn disastrous. He also respects Roach's skills, stating he's not an easy opponent, making this rematch one of the most dangerous tests for Tank.
I think
They announced it today?
So what do you think, considering you were one of the handful of people to pick Lamont Roach, giving him a tough fight, what do you see the rematch?
I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Did you think Lamont won the first fight?
154 and fight. I asked two questions at the same time. I ain't hear shit y'all just asked.
Do you really want to move up to 154 after this fight and fight O'Connor again?
In newly surfaced training footage, Gervonta Davis showcases a remarkable physical transformation that has captured the attention of boxing fans around the world. He appears more muscular and intense than ever before, exuding confidence and focus as he moves through intense drills with his team. His body language, along with a cryptic tweet that reads, "Somebody is in trouble," has sparked widespread speculation. Fans interpret this message as a warning to Lamont Roach or anyone else standing in his way. Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. shared his thoughts on Davis's fighting style and potential in the upcoming rematch. While Jones acknowledged that boxing is unpredictable and anything can happen, he expressed firm belief that Davis brings a unique kind of power and danger to the ring. According to Jones, Davis is not just a regular power puncher. He's a complete fighter with instincts, speed, and the ability to switch gears in the middle of a bout. This makes him a different kind of beast, capable of sudden, fight-changing moments. Despite the unknowns surrounding the rematch, Roy believes Davis's intensity and natural talent will shine when it matters most.
Roach, what are we expecting from this fight?
Well, we're expecting Gervonta just continue to show us his dominance and show us who he really is. It's really a coming out party for Roach, but we kind of haven't seen him a lot. So he gets to show people what he has too. And usually when you get two guys who are boxers as amateurs, it's going to equate to a good fight for the first few rounds. But when the pro rounds take over, we'll find out, has Roach adjusted to being a pro yet, or is Tank too superior now as a pro? And that's where the difference will come in at.
Roach is coming up on weight. That, a lot of people keep on saying that's a very big disadvantage for Roach. His power might not transfer to, to this weight class. What do you got to say about that to the critics?
Well, I ain't really got nothing to say to the critics, because most of the time they don't know the hell they talking about no weight, but I was able to carry my weight from 154 to heavyweight. You know how to do it right, then your weight, your punch will come through. You don't know how to do it right, then yeah, you're gonna lose your punch. So if he's a good, fundamentally sound fighter with a punch, you're gonna have a punch at 130, just like you're gonna have a punch at 140. If he's not really fundamentally that sound, then he won't. That's why Tank was able to jump around. Tank fought between 130 and 140, whatever weight he wanted to. Why? Because he's a great fundamental puncher. So his punch gonna be the same no matter what weight he got on. If you are fundamentally sound, that don't matter. But if you're not fundamentally sound, then yeah, when you move up the weight, you're gonna lose your punch.
The stakes have never been higher for Gervonta Davis. A second loss, especially without any clear excuse, could trigger doubts about his standing among boxing's elite. One defeat might be forgiven as a fluke or a bad night, but another slip could suggest something deeper. Critics would inevitably question whether Davis still has what it takes to dominate at the highest level. His fan base, his pride, and his future earning potential all hinge on this performance.
Is the rematch happening or what? Because I'm ready to see a motherfucker get knocked out again. I'm not here to debate, because y'all really go neck and neck for this for the rest of the eternity on who y'all think really won, who y'all think should have won, who y'all think didn't win. This is probably one of the biggest debates that will never be solved. Well, they put up a good fight. I'm not going to lie, y'all, but damn near seemed like it was set up for them to have another match. Because exactly what Lamont did to Tank the whole first half, that's what Tank did to Lamont the whole second half. So what the fuck? It literally went neck for neck. I feel like it was a tie in my opinion. So hard to even say that though, because you just see so much demolishment from one, and then for it to flip to the other, and it just had your mind like, what? It's really had your mind blown. Like, what the fuck? I feel like when it came to the decision of the fight, a lot of people were real biased. A lot of people definitely went off of just a personal opinion of the person, a history of liking the person, not off of the fight itself. I will admit that really going into this fight, the first time, I thought Lamont was going to get his shit knocked off. I thought Tank was going to do him in. Now, although Tank did really show him something at the second half, I'm not going to lie, Lamont had him. He stuck with him the whole 12. You know anything about boxing, especially boxing a motherfucker like Tank, you know that it's to flex the last 12 rounds just as much as it is to beat a motherfucker. The fact that Lamont lasted 12 rounds with him was really getting up, I'm not gonna lie, stinging shit, all 12. It showed that this next match gonna really show who the fucking winner was. I do gotta say, Tank probably gonna come ready for him, but the fact that Lamont came ready for him, as ready for him as he did last match, I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared for both of them. This should be bigger than the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna lie. They say it's supposed to be happening in the summer, which would be a really good way to kick off the summer. And I know these two got a vengeance out for each other. Regardless of growing up together and fighting together, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. The way that fight went down, I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like this is gonna be history. Like, I can't wait to watch this shit again.
Shakur Stevenson, one of the most technically gifted boxers of his generation, acknowledged that facing Davis would be his most challenging fight to date. He praised Davis's combination of speed, power, and unpredictability, labeling him as a legitimate threat. Stevenson isn't shy about admitting that a bout against Tank would push him to his absolute limits.
What would be your hardest matchup? Devin Haney, Tank, or would it be Ryan Garcia?
Nah, Ryan, just X him out. He's trash. It's gonna be Tank. I ain't say it before, but I'm gonna say it like me and him the big fight.
In recent statements, Shakur Stevenson made it clear that he's open and ready to face either Lamont Roach or Gervonta Davis, especially if Davis emerges victorious. He emphasized that such a clash would be massive for the sport, drawing interest from fans, analysts, and promoters alike. Stevenson believes that a matchup with Davis would showcase elite-level boxing, with both fighters bringing different strengths to the table. From Stevenson's point of view, it wouldn't just be a big-money fight. It would be a legacy-defining moment that could reshape the lightweight division.
Me and Tank, it's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I can see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it happening. I don't think, like, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so
then you're gonna get it on.
Yeah.
Though Tank Davis has recognized Shakur Stevenson's quickness and technical abilities, his reaction to the idea of a fight between them was noticeably lukewarm. While he didn't rule it out, Davis downplayed the potential entertainment value of the bout, hinting that it might not live up to the excitement fans expect. He left the door open, saying that the fight would happen when the time was right, but his tone lacked enthusiasm. This suggests that, although Davis respects Stevenson's talent, he's unsure if their styles would combine for the kind of action-packed event that typically defines his bouts.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn looking way more better than this. I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who
Y'all
might
keep
be
saying
afraid?
his name for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, you know, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of somebody, it gotta be somebody hitting us and hurting us. Like, he don't have no offense. Everything is defense. Defense only win in basketball and football. That shit win in boxing.
Some boxing observers and fans are skeptical about the true motivation behind the Davis versus Roach rematch. There's a growing belief that Davis chose Roach not because he's the most challenging opponent available, but because he appears beatable, someone Tank can handle with relative ease. At the same time, Roach is being criticized for accepting the bout primarily for financial reasons, rather than the competitive challenge. This perception has sparked debate about the integrity of matchmaking in modern boxing, with some fans feeling disappointed that the sport's biggest names may be prioritizing paychecks over true competition.
Client, why would I allow you to fight these fights just for you to knock somebody out if it's not a numbers game?
Good question.
The money.
That's the only number that matters.
The money.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into it. Speaking of money, lots of people have talked about, oh, he's doing this fight for money, and Tank is strategically picking him because in the amateur world, you guys fought twice, right? And you lost, what, both times in the amateur fight. So are you all friends? Are y'all cordial? First, what's the relationship?
We're cordial for
You're
sure.
cordial.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He cool to me.
He's cool to you.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard that he said anything differently?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He has?
Nah, he hasn't.
He has not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm confirming that. He hasn't said
He has
anything
not said
different.
anything differently. Mm-hmm. So does it confirm people's suspicion that he purposefully picked you, not only because you're cordial, but because he believes he's going to knock you out, get the purse, and then you walk away with a nice piece of change?
I mean, you're in the wrong game if you don't think you're going to beat everybody. Like, anyway, but if you're saying specifically pick me because I'm going to be an easy cakewalk, everybody in the world know that's not going to happen. I mean, like, that's not going to happen. Him personally, he know that. I think he chose me because I am going to be one of the better opponents that he's faced in his entire career, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
British boxer Conor Benn recently expressed confusion over Davis's career direction. He questioned why Davis is still calling out opponents like Roach if retirement is genuinely on his mind. For Benn, this contradiction raises questions about Davis's motivation and long-term plans. It's a fair point. If Davis is mentally drifting toward the end of his career, is he truly invested in giving fans his best performances? Benn's remarks challenge Davis to clarify whether he's still hungry for greatness or merely cashing in on his name before stepping away.
I don't know Lamont Roach, but when you look at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at these other fighters that he should really be fighting, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire.
Yeah.
So don't come but don't come at me. Yeah. And go, oh yeah, let's give it all, very big bollocks, and go, oh yeah, let's give him some stick, and then make out like we want the fight, and then we send an offer over, and then you fight for 15 million, and yet you fight Lamont Roach. Don't do all that. Do you know what I mean?
It was a real offer. That was true then.
It was a real offer. We offered. I said, listen, you keep talking shit. My promoter's going to get back to you in 48 hours. 50 minutes. Initial offer sent over. But was it Unquell didn't let him out to play? His boss didn't let him out. That's it. So he wants to talk about 50 million. First offer.
There was room to negotiate.
Of course there was. But he's an idiot. I don't even know if he knows what negotiating means.
After their initial meeting, many felt that Davis didn't look like his usual dominant self. Whether it was distractions outside the ring or a lackluster strategy, Tank's performance raised eyebrows. This time around, the narrative is different. Davis seems laser-focused and determined to set the record straight. From training footage to media silence, every move indicates a fighter who wants to leave no room for doubt. He's not just fighting Roach. He's fighting to reclaim his aura of invincibility. With his back against the wall, he's aiming for a clear and commanding win that erases all doubts.
So breaking news, Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach 2 is set for August 16th in Las Vegas. And this is a rematch of one of the most controversial fights in recent memory, where Roach arguably won 7 to 8 rounds of that fight, and then Tank took a voluntary knee in round 9, which wasn't ruled a knockdown, but ultimately, it was scored a majority draw. Now in the rematch, I do expect Tank to look much better than he did in the first fight. I don't think that was his best performance by any means, and that means being more active in the early rounds, not just staying on the ropes looking for counters. And I'm sure he'll be willing to exchange more with Roach this time around. The left hands, the combinations, the body shots, that's where he had the most success in the first fight. And Roach, he just needs to stick to what made him so successful in the first fight. His forward pressure, staying behind that jab and right hand. But most importantly, he wasn't scared to take it at Tank, but he also didn't get too aggressive. Most of Tank's opponents, if they're scared of the power, they'll sit back on the ropes, get slowly broken down, or if they end up getting too aggressive, they get caught with the counterpunch. But Roach, he was sharp that whole fight. I would go Tank in the rematch. I think he has a lot more to show this time around, but Roach did prove to be a very tough test. But you guys let me know who you got.
In contrast to Roach's active presence on social media and interviews, Davis has maintained an unusually low profile. This silence hasn't gone unnoticed. Analysts suggest it's intentional, part of a focused, distraction-free training camp. By removing himself from the noise, Davis is showing a level of discipline and commitment that speaks louder than any press conference. This quiet intensity has fans speculating that something explosive is coming. Roach may be doing the talking now, but Davis appears to be doing the real work, preparing to let his fists speak when it matters most.
Oh yeah, so we hearing that they got the fight set and scheduled, and it's going to be in Vegas, and it's going to be this August. So yeah, it's basically just been reported. And I'm not going to lie, we knew it was going to happen because they both said they down to do it. They both said they got to do the rematch because it was too close. All I'm going to say is I'm hoping that boy Tank, because he been quiet lately. Lamont, you been yapping. Talking about you should have won. You keep dwelling on that little almost close win. That boy Gervonta, that Tank, he been... We ain't never seen Tank in this mode. I will say that Lamont, you're a very skilled fighter. But you should be nervous because we ain't never seen Tank like this. He quiet. Like, he's literally hushed, bro. You just see him training. And now out of nowhere, he's like, hey, bro, we can set the fight up. That's actually dangerous. That's actually dangerous when you think about it. Like, dude ain't said a word. Even once the fight was over and pressed, he got the little hat on. He like, yeah, I mean, we could do the rematch. And he said it. I'm going to go in the gym and I'm going to train. I'm going to just be quiet and work. Good match to Lamont. I ain't going to lie. If I was Lamont, I'll be a little nervous. You ain't got to be scared, but I will be a little nervous because usually Tank, he the one that's like, yeah, don't bring your moms to the fight. Don't bring your peoples to the fight. Dude been real hush-hush lately. I'm not going to lie, y'all. They said the fight set up for August. I might have to go to this one in person. In August is my birthday month. I might have to go to this one in person, bruh. Because this right here, at this point, they're rivals now. This is like the perfect boxing story. They come from the same side of the the mat. Come from the same gym and camp. I'm not gonna lie, they've been at it since they was kids. This like the perfect boxing story, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. We might have to be in there in person. But like I said, y'all already know how I go. When it come down to it, I'm putting my money on my boy Tank. Lamont, you definitely are skilled. And I'm going into this fight knowing that basically I know you gonna put up a good one. But I got my money on Tank. We ain't never seen Tank like this, bro. Dude quiet and he ain't saying nothing. The fight just got booked. Oh, yeah.
Criticism can either break a fighter or fuel them. For Davis, it seems to be the latter. Every move he makes now, from his workouts to his rare comments, feels calculated to silence his doubters. He's pushing himself to new physical heights and drilling every detail of his game to perfection. The goal is simple: show the world that he's still the top dog in the division. This rematch isn't just about revenge, it's about legacy, pride, and the need to remind everyone why he became a household name in the first place.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, Face of Boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down. Every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else. Especially in Saudi, I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for what, 5 months? Y'all ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. He sold about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight is going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. You take away all those factors that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. They didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top... Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Well. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol better be have just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching him, and Bivol and Better BF do. Tank does not.
From Davis's camp, the message is that their original strategy against Roach wasn't flawed. It just wasn't executed properly. They believed they had the right blueprint, but certain moments lacked sharpness and timing. Instead of tearing everything down, they're focusing on refining that same plan. The team is working on tightening the gaps and adding more pressure during key phases of the fight. It's not about doing something entirely new. It's about doing it better. Their belief is that a cleaner version of the original strategy will be enough to secure a dominant win in the rematch.
Surprised by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, that they don't exist. It's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Speaking of rematches, Jalil Hackett is getting his opportunity again to fight the guy that He had a controversial loss too. It'll be happening in Florida. I think next week?
March 15th, I think.
Let's talk about
I'm rocking a major shirt now.
Major and
Yes,
the Bill. Tell me, how's that rematch look like, and then what's the difference makers coming into this fight?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.